See, I'ma need y'all who constantly taking a walk in a fence around your neighborhood called victimhood to stop playing with me. Pregnant at 15, first child born at 16, moved out of my parents' home at the age of 17 and got my own place on my own. Graduated high school at the age of 17, which some people thought I wouldn't even do. Even gave the commencement speech because I was in the top 5% of my class. I was even accepted into the Ohio State University. I wasn't able to attend because back then they didn't really have a program that would allow me to be a full-time college student, work full-time to take care of me and my child, as well as be a full-time mother. So I ended up going to Columbus State Community College, getting my associates from there, and then going on to get my bachelor's from Capital University. And this was all during while at the hands of my child's father, I suffered mental, physical, sexual, spiritual, psychological, and financial abuse. This took place over 7 long, disturbing, horrific, disgusting years until I finally got the police involved, the media involved, all the way up to the FBI. In those 7 years, I remember not being allowed to listen to rap music. The first unedited, uncut rap song I ever heard was a song by Snoop Dogg, and I about clutched my pearls. So needless to say, when God got me out of that situation, I gave all the glory to the devil. I didn't shout and do a praise dance to God. I went and danced in them streets. And while in those streets, I was sexually assaulted. So here comes the police and the FBI again, having to help me get justice. But not before my best friend and my co-worker found me lying on the floor after taking an overdose of pills. In short, they saved me, and I remember when they were doing what they needed to do to see what I had taken to get me to come to, my co-worker found a bullet shell casing. I didn't even know what it was. I just know after the attack, I gathered up all my things. I was scraping up stuff off the floor, and so I must have scooped up the bullet shell, the casing, and put it into my bag. And that was exactly what we needed to prove that what had happened to me had happened to me. So they sat with me, they helped me call the police. The police came. I remember going to the emergency room. I remember having a assault kit being done on me, and I remember being given the abortion pill. Eventually, I was assigned a prosecutor and I was given a court date. But what I can remember and what is so crazy is I remember being in front of the grand jury, telling them what happened. And I remember them laughing. I remember them crying, not laughing at me, but laughing at how I was sharing what happened to them. They were laughing, they were crying, their emotions was all over the place. And it reminded me of how my audiences are now when I go to speak, teach, or lecture. I've just always been naturally animated. I've been naturally too much and over the top and dramatic. But I'll tell you what, that grand jury indicted that man after 10 minutes of listening to me tell my story. I remember sitting across from the prosecutor in his office and him asking me, "Are you sure you want to go through this? Do you want to go up against this man in trial? Because he's very powerful. He's very prominent. His entire family is prominent. He comes from wealth. Oh, and did I mention that he's white?" I'll never forget that prosecutor saying to me, "You know, he's got pairs of shoes in his closet that cost more than you make at work in a year." I shrank inside and I literally shrank into that chair. And in that moment, I felt like that prosecutor was not on my side and was not going to be on my side. Not then and not in the courtroom. He saw me as trash, as if I wasn't even worth a pair of shoes. I mean, I know that's not what he said, but that's what I chose to hear. So a few minutes later, I found myself taking a cash settlement and signing an NDA for an amount of money that seemed like a large sum back then to a single struggling mom who sometimes would have to choose Pampers over maxi pads when it was that time of the month, which means I had to run around with paper towels and napkins from restaurants between my legs. Period poverty is a real thing, y'all. But believe it or not, I say all this just to say that I am solution oriented. So I unapologetically have a hard time finding the problem in other people's problems. Problems they use as an excuse not to achieve their dreams, visions, and goals. Problems they use as an excuse not to achieve their measure of success. Problems and even pain that they choose to sit and be paralyzed in instead of walking in their calling, assignment, and purpose. Instead, they choose to constantly walk in offense, always getting offended, getting their feelings hurt by every little thing somebody says or does. I can go down some of y'all's social media posts right now and determine which neighborhood you live in, whether you live in victimhood or freedomhood. And if you are that person, clearly you ain't never been through nothing in life. If words and other people's actions bother you to the point where it gets you in such an uproar that it steals time and energy from your life, where you could be using that time to read your child a book, read your grandchild a book, read your nephew a book, the neighbor's book or something, you could be using that time to take a sick friend some soup. Get out of here with that. Too many of y'all are trying to comfort your emotions instead of control them. So again, you haven't been through something for real, or you simply just haven't confronted the truths in your life and in your story, and you need healed, set free, and delivered. But I have great news. You are in the right place today, my friend. All you need to do now is go visit www.theconfrontationalspeaker.com, and while you are there, sign up for the Confrontational newsletter, where you will receive the truth straight, no chaser, to your inbox. Now you got some work to do, so there's going to be some worksheets in those newsletters. But do the work, because every step you take in truth is a freedom walk. And in full transparency, you might not be able to get over some things, but I promise you, baby, you can get through them.